It's not that you are making it happen. And so what happens is that as designers who are involved right from the conception of the idea till that idea is completely formed, as designers, we know the in and out of that design process, right? The whole thing of the idea. So our job, particularly my job, really at the end becomes convincing people when it's whether it's the client, whether it's the consultants, whether it's the contractor, whether it's the construction worker, whether it's the user, to convincing them about our grand idea. So it's more of inspiring them to do better, making sure that it is built. So it's basically working with people, and it's more so of being open to them, being also open to their criticism, being open to everything that relates to human beings, but making sure it's not personal. It's not attacking you. It's not attacking that. It's got to do with this building. It's got to do with design, and also believing that we are a team, and if someone fails, we fail. So if somebody is not doing it, you help them out, you support them. If somebody is going in the wrong way, you try to tell them. If somebody is down, you inspire them. So it's always I always like to think about architecture and design being a smaller portion, and the bigger portion is just getting it happen, making it work, making it happen.
How as a leader, how do you instill that?
First and foremost, believing in the design, believing in what we are going to deliver as the end product, which not everybody is looking at that. Everybody is doing their job and getting away. So an electrical guy will do his electrical job and go away. He doesn't care how this looks like. Landscape guy would do his landscape. So you have to believe in your big idea. You're believing that you're making it going to happen. And so all these players have to fall in line with that one, because they need to see that goal, the end product, right? So we have to keep on. It's like a cheerleader, basically. It's basically really making everybody happy in some ways, getting it done.
Welcome to another episode, and today we're going to do this episode a little different because we are all about rewriting the rules. My guest today is Charu, but I'm not going to introduce her. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit more about her and her journey. So Charu, welcome, and over to you.
Thank you. It's really exciting to be here. I am an architect, and I work for an amazing firm. It's a design firm. Our founder of our firm is none other than the famous Mr. Moshe Safdie.
Wow.
So it's such a great pleasure for me to sit here and talk about someone who's a mentor, a master in the world of architecture, and someone I studied about him when I was in college. Little did I imagine that I would be working with him, and little did I imagine that I would be mentored by him, and that I would be in Singapore working on this amazing projects. We've done these amazing range of projects which have put Singapore on the world map in terms of architecture.
And those are?
Starting from Marina Bay Sands.
Okay.
Then Jewel at Changi Airport. Then we just did a new typology for office headquarters in Jurong Innovation District, Sarbana Jurong.
Okay.
And now we are doing an expansion of Marina Bay Sands, which is going to be another amazing landmark project.
Wow. So it's basically your firm and you and your team behind all these iconic things that we see in Singapore, or that Singapore gets known for. Tell us a little bit about your journey from studying to starting working. Give us a glimpse of that.
My journey has been amazing not because of who I am or what I am, because it's amazing because I met very, very nice people, or people who thought I could do something good in my life. And I think that's a very fortunate part.
Yeah.
When I started working in Boston area, suburbs of Boston area, I worked in a very small design firm owned by an architect called Michael Rosenfeld. And he took me under his wing and he trained me. And then I worked in another firm, which was many women were working over there, and it was amazing because I saw quite a few women leaders, although I did not work there for a long time.
Sure.
And then I worked at Moshe Safdie with Moshe Safdie's firm. So I think that, when you talk about success and everything, I think it always matters who are the participants in your success.
Yes.
Who make you who you are, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that part I've been absolutely fortunate.
As you said, your journey, you've attributed it to all the people who came along the way. Can one seek out such people?
Yes and no. I don't know if seeking out is the answer.
Sure.
Because I think seeking out is a lot of work.
Yeah.
You have to look who they are.
It is.
And I think one of the key things about any job or any profession or any work you do is being open to it, right? I mean, the more you're open to ideas and more you're open to work and culture and all the stuff, I think they seek you out. If you're trying to run behind something, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But if you are like, you know what? Let me just do my work well. Let me just do my work well. And I think that in a conversation the other day, you asked me, and I said, putting your head down, working very hard, and making sure that every new day is better than the last day, in terms of your performance, in terms of your contribution, in terms of everything.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's the key, isn't it?
And that's where I was getting at, is there a way one can look for them or make their work visible in front of such people?
So when I say that they have been my mentors, they have not been mentors the way people think about mentors, right? Mentors
Tell
is like,
me
I'm
more.
working with you and that kind of thing. Mentors doesn't have to be so direct. Mentors can be learning from far.
Yeah.
Right? And every moment you get with them, you learn from them. You don't have to. And so sometimes your mentors or your learning things are from your colleagues.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're learning things from your bosses.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're learning things from your client. And sometimes all of a sudden you could learn from anybody,
Yes.
So that's the idea of being open to it.
Nice.
So the minute you're open to it, it doesn't matter what position the person is. So when you talk about mentors, or when I talk about working at Safdie Architects, it's the underlying principles, the design principles that we have in our from the company, and these are defined by Mr. Safdie himself.
Yeah.
And so these underlying principles are the principles that are pushing our company forward. And these are not rocket science.
Yeah.
These are very basic things. When you're designing, don't just design for the client or the person who's paying you. You design for the community.
Yeah.
You study the impact of the building. You study the impact of people who are using it, people who are visiting it. And more than that, what is the neighborhood going to react to that? It's very simple thing to understand.
Yeah.
And it's a very obvious thing, isn't it? But how many people do that?
Yes. Now I want to come to the fact that you said about things that could look very obvious. Like as you said, when you're designing the building, you're not just designing for the client, you're designing for the community, for people around. And if I were to extrapolate that could go into designing a product, or it could be designing technology.
Absolutely.
I mean, those principles can be applied everywhere, right?
Absolutely.
But obvious things are not so obvious, right? To a lot of people.
But then you know what? That's what the fine tuning is about, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the fine tuning is about you're in a rush and you walk out and there's your neighbor's flowers and you look at them and you're like, wow, they're so pretty. I mean, those little things that make your day.
Yeah.
Those little things that impact your work, they impact your life. It's all about fine tuning to that.
Right.
And I think that you can get with practice, maybe. That we can get with awareness, maybe. But I think that's the same thing about learning too.
Yeah. You mentioned flowers, very interesting, and I picked that on. Are you inspired by nature?
I'm very easily inspired.
Oh.
I get inspired by, just stepping out of my building and somebody smiling at me and I feel like it's a great day. Looking at flowers, I feel even a fallen leaf, I'll pick it up and put it in my notebook.
Right.
I think one of the reasons that credit, I must give it to my mother.
Okay.
My mother reads a lot. And I started reading, and I read books that at that age I don't think kids read. I don't think I read children's books, maybe children's books, but I read so many other things, and magazines and biographies, and I'm still very interested in reading stories and biographies and all. And I think somewhere it just gives you. So you talk about mentorship. It's not even a person. It is books.
It's a book.
And it's not self-help books. It's just reading stories about people who made it.
Yeah.
And then it just opens your mind. It's like, oh my God, this is how it is. This is how Toyota factory did. This is how Lee Iacocca did with with Chrysler. All those things, things that you don't even understand. You do it.
That's right.
So I think it's a very open world.
Yeah, it is. It is. I want to shift gears a little bit. On the projects that you mentioned that you have been part of. In some cases led. I'm assuming that would entail working with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that. What does it mean to work on a project that size, and also leading multiple set of people or multiple stakeholders? Like, give us a view of that.
Let me start by saying it's a very humbling experience.
Because why is that?
Because you realize that you're part of a very big world that makes it happen. It's not that you are making it happen.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that as designers who are involved right from the conception of the idea till that idea is completely formed, as designers, we know the in and out of that design process, right? The whole thing of the idea. So our job, particularly my job, really at the end becomes convincing people, whether it's the client, whether it's the consultants, whether it's the contractor, whether it's the construction worker, whether it's the user, to convincing them about our grand idea. So it's more of inspiring them to do better, making sure that it is built. So it's basically working with people, and it's more so of being open to them. Being also open to their criticism, being open to everything that relates to human beings. But making sure it's not personal. It's not attacking you. It's not attacking that. It's got to do with this building. It's got to do with design, and also believing that we are a team, and if someone fails, we fail. Right. So if somebody is not doing it, you help them out, you support them. If somebody is going in the wrong way, you try to tell them. If somebody is down, you inspire them. So it's always, I always like to think about architecture and design being a smaller portion, and the bigger portion is just getting it happen, making it work, making it happen.
Yes. How, as a leader, how do you instill that?
First and foremost, believing in the design, believing in what we are going to deliver as the end product, which not everybody's looking at that. Everybody's doing their job and getting away.
Right.
So an electrical guy will do his electrical job and go away. He doesn't care how that looks like.
Right.
Landscape guy would do his landscape. So you have to believe in your big idea. You're believing that you're making it going to happen. And so all these players have to fall in line with that one, because they need to see that goal, the end product, right?
Yes.
So we have to keep on. It's like a cheerleader, basically.
Yeah. Like that term.
It's basically really making everybody happy in some ways.
Yeah.
Getting it done.
Yeah. I wouldn't imagine that it comes without its due share of challenges.
Of course.
Yeah.
Dealing with human beings.
Yes.
Of course, a lot. Every day.
Yes. Tell us about few of the challenges. If you were to look back at your projects, what are like 2, 3 that you think are recurring challenges?
It's the recurring challenge, I think, is proving yourself every time. Because you start a new project and you have to prove your abilities. You have to prove yourself. And that's time consuming and energy consuming, to say, okay, you know what? Hey, we've done Marina Bay Sands and we can do this also. But then again, you have to prove yourself. You have to prove your abilities and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to start again. And we are an ambitious bunch of people. We like to think big. We want to do this. And we are very ambitious about and very passionate about it has to be more beautiful than what the image looks like. It has to be better than that. So it's really, I think this I think the problem's the same no matter what project you are working on.
All right.
People problems are people problems.
Correct.
There are people, their egos get hurt. Some people feel they're not hurt. Some people think that they know better than you, and which is true also. It's
right. So Charu, as a woman leader, leading such massive projects, if there are challenges or if there are insights or there are learnings?
I think as a woman, we tend to be more flexible and we find our way of doing the job. Okay. I didn't have any mentors that way of people to look up to someone and to say, hey, this is how this person did it. Right? I didn't have anybody. So you have to find your own way. And you find your own way and you try things and it doesn't work. The only thing that you have to remember is not giving up. If you give up, then it's a problem. So that's different, right? That's why you have to get motivated easily and inspired easily. You fall and you stand up and you fall and you stand up. Someone once said to me, oh, you've been doing this for a long time. You must have thick skin. And I looked at them and I was like, let's say you hurt your arm. That day you hit against the wall, you hit that more and more. You have a cut and that day you are like, you get it more. It's like, it doesn't go away.
Yes.
So it's not, you can never have thick skin. If you're getting hurt, you get hurt in the same spot.
Yes.
It's do you want to keep an eye on that? Do you want to focus your attention on that? No, you try to ignore your pain, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I think endurance is the key.
Endurance.
I think not worrying about failure is the key. And not worry about the world. Who cares?
Yeah.
If you want to do it, just go do it.
I love that.
You just have to be comfortable with who you are. You just have to be comfortable with the way you are. You don't have to follow anybody.
Nice. Very nice. I want to ask you, you're at this stage of your career, life. As you look back, what advice would you give your younger self?
You know what? Just be who you are. I think that I don't have any advice for my younger self because I am who I am because of my younger self, right? I think that you have to fall, you have to go through the hurt and pain and do whatever you have to do, stumble and rise and stumble and rise. And that's where you get to.
Good. Have there been any pivotal moments or turning points or crossroads which have made you redefine, rewrite anything?
In my life, the defining moments have been people, usually. It is people.
Yeah.
When I was very young, I don't remember how old I was. I might be 4 or 5. My grandfather told me that I was very special. And he said that your smile brightens my day and you're so special to me and you're so special in this world. Don't you ever forget. I think that was a pivotal moment. My father telling me that I can be whatever I want in my life as long as I finish it well.
Yeah.
And as long as I really work hard, there's nothing in the world that's going to stop you. I think that's a pivotal moment. One of my friends, who was a very famous architect in India, Charu Kokate, and I happened to work with him for a short while. And when I was leaving, and I was feeling really bad to leave him because it was such a nice office, he and his wife, Redefining. And they said that, you know what? Our mission is to make sure that people who work with us, when they leave, they're at a better station than they got on. I think that was a pivotal movement. It stayed with me. And I make sure that people who work with me, my team members, they're at a better place. So I make sure that they're at a better place. Working on Marina Bay Sands, and one time I did not want to work on the casino part of it because I didn't feel comfortable working on a casino because I thought it's not great for the society. Why should we work on that part?
Right.
And Moshe said to me, he said, don't limit yourself because the world will try to put limitations on you. I think that's a pivotal moment. I think that my husband telling me that you shouldn't be worried about people who say things because it's not your problem, it's their problem.
Yeah.
They have to change their attitude. You don't need to change yourself. I think that's a pivotal moment. So I don't have success stories to tell you like, I did this, and that was my pivotal moment. No, but I think there are people who have directly or indirectly made a change in me. I think that those are pivotal moments.
Yeah, nice. Because it's nicely coming back to what you started with, is about, people trusting you, people taking you under their wings. And now when I ask you pivotal moments, it's about people.
How do you define success? Money is not success.
No.
Fame is not success.
Yeah.
Today's day and age, fame doesn't even last.
That's right.
It's like it's not even 15 minutes of fame anymore. It's like
few seconds.
It's like few seconds on Instagram is your fame, right?
Yes.
So success is not even fame. Success is, getting appreciated by your peers, getting appreciated by your critics, making sure that you leave the world in a better place, and impact on people, isn't it?
Yeah, perfect, beautiful. On that note, thank you so much, Charu. I really enjoyed our conversation, and our listeners are going to get so much value from it. So thank you for sharing your story,
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing all your insights.
Thank you very much.